In a spot in my tundra like this big.
No, tell him that he wanted a new one. The judge granted it.
So that's when they were. No, I thought old school guys.
Thank you.
The fathers were in there. So the house and all those things.
All right, thank you. I wanted to.
That's why I mentioned that I saw.
All right. I'll start with their presentation of the evidence, and then when they come in, they can switch out with you. All right, thank you. Court is calling 2025 CR 0022723 State versus Leroy Smith. Can I have parties announced for the record? State.
Andrew Harris, state of Texas. Actually, Ashley Jones is just right.
All right. For
And
the
Michael
defense.
Leon for Mr. Smith.
And are you Mr. Smith? You need to unmute. If you'll just, thank you. Are you
Okay.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Any objections to Mr. Smith appearing by Zoom?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
All right, we're here for a defendant's motion to reduce bond. State, have you had a chance to review the motion?
I believe we did yesterday, Your Honor, yes.
All right, and is there an agreement?
Your Honor, the state would recommend that the original bond be inflated with the out things. And I believe that's the 1%.
All right, defense, I'll hear argument.
Judge, Mr. Smith appeared on Monday, April 21st, approximately 2 weeks and 1 day ago, on his first appearance. He was 20 minutes late to court. The visiting judge at that time put him in the box and revoked his bond for being late to court. The next day after that, he had to go from the jail to University Hospital for dialysis. That's what he needs as part of his medical condition. He was late to court, Judge, and he apologizes for that. You know, he was trying to find the courtroom and everything. He's got no prior criminal history. He will appear in the future. He's had that $30,000 bond for approximately a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And with the $30,000 bond, he can't make it. We would like a bond reduction of respectively anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000. And he and his wife can potentially make that type of bond. And of course, he'll make all his court appearances at that point.
All right, state.
I guess I would, the state best urged that the original bond be reinstated. When the bond was instated, there was an adjunct judge. Criminal history, reviewed the case, and determined that it was a bond, and understand that the state judge did forfeit that bond or hit only support, however, lower end of the bond. The state just recommends that the original bond.
All right, Attorney DeLeon.
Yes.
I see that you were here on May 6th and the court set his bond at $30,000, the original amount which the state was agreed to. And you're saying that he no longer can make that. Has anyone called the bondsman to see if the bondsman will be on his bond with the $30,000, perhaps taking in consideration that he's already paid towards the $30,000 bond? Has he spoken to the bondsman?
Well, Judge, the original bond was revoked. Mr. Smith, do you have any information for the court about your bondsman?
So when I talked to the bondsman, he told me that I did not show up for court, so therefore that's why it was revoked, and that I would have to pay basically 1,500. And I was like, I don't have 1,500.
Hey, sir, can I get a paper?
Well,
It took
maybe,
me-
maybe, Mr. DeLeon, if you want to talk to the bondsman and explain to the bondsman the circumstances of his showing up, who knows, maybe the bondsman will reconsider and place you under the same contract with that amount having previously been paid. Once, Mr. DeLeon, you've spoken to the bondsman about that, I'll rehear the case if the bondsman says no.
Okay,
And if you want to speak to them today and recall this for tomorrow, and we can have your client appear by Zoom tomorrow, the court will take it up.
that'd be fine, Judge. I'll reach out to the bondsman right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge Boyd.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, Pilkington. And Norma, if you'll let them know, Mr. Smith is done. Court is calling 2024 CR 012475, 2024 CR 011906, State versus Sean Pilkington. Can I have parties announced for the record, please?
Hunter Morris for the state.
Lindsay Shaw for Ms. Pilkington. Mr. Pilkington.
Thank
Sorry.
you. And are you Mr. Pilkington? Counsel, in each of the cause numbers, have you received all discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, in each of the cause numbers, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Judge. Oh, sorry. No, Judge, no, Judge. Well, trial one, which, sorry, I don't know which one it is. It has account one and account two. State. And has a repeater.
Just one moment. No, no problem.
The 906 Judge has count two.
All right, I don't have the indictment for that one.
Okay, Judge.
Oh, but you know what? I can look through the waivers. Just one second.
It's gonna be count two. Count one, and
All right, so that is in cause number 2024 CR 011906. So state you are waiving the repeat offensement enhancement allegation.
that is correct, and count one.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
And Judge, in the other cause number, state is proceeding on paragraph B of count one and waiving the habitual enhancement, but keeping the repeater enhancement for the 2019 cause number.
All right, so waive habitual, and you say you're proceeding on paragraph
B.
B.
It should make that one effectively a second degree.
All right. Any objections to the state's waivers?
Ma'am.
All right, in each of the cause numbers, did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places? And the cause number ended in 06, you're charged with fraudulent use or possession of credit card or debit card, 10 to 50 items as a second degree felony. And the cause number ending in 75, they're proceeding on the count with fraudulent use of possession of identifying information, 5 or less for the elderly, with the repeat offender enhancement allegation. Each of those offenses, the range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? In each cause number, you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. By entering into these plea bargain agreements, you were giving up those rights. Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into pleas in each of these cause numbers? Counsel, in each of the cause numbers, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pilkington, in each of these cause numbers, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen? In each of the cause numbers, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. In each of the cause numbers, did you review the plea bargain agreement with your attorney? Did you understand it? And the cause number ending in 06, according to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 2. Punishment is to be assessed at 8 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine, no applications. This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 012475. State will take in consideration 2024 PF 26211, 2025 CR 001487, night mag number 766582 with a corresponding JN number 2181185, restitution, if any, to the complainants. And the cause number ending in 75, state is proceeding on count 1, paragraph B. You'd agree that you've been previously convicted of 1 or more felonies for enhancement. Punishments be assessed at 8 years in the prison. There are no applications. There's to be restitution of $902 to Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, and there's to be no contact with Shirley Rushfelt. In each of those cause numbers, did you understand that to be the plea? Defense is at the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Judge.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph in each of those cause numbers? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No.
Then in cause number 2024 CR 012475, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest to paragraph B?
Contest, Your Honor.
And to the enhancement, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
And in the cause number 2024 CR 011906, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that is to count 2, correct?
Correct.
All right, state any evidence.
Does the state defendant states for an attachment only recovery each cost?
No objection.
All right, did you review the waiver and consent to stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand? In each of the cause numbers, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, each of the cause numbers after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find the enhancement true based upon your plea or true and based upon states exhibits 1 and attachments. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, I think it's evident just in looking at his criminal history, a lot of the reason that this keeps happening is because Mr. Sean has struggled with drugs. His father is here in support of him. He's he's here because he wants the court to know and Sean to know that he's going to support him through this. We just ask the state that the court follow the agreement.
In each cause number, the court will sentence you to 8 years in the prison. In the cause number ending in 75, there's a restitution to Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union in the amount of $902. There's to be no contact with Shirley Rushfelt. And the court is, as previously stated, the court found the enhancement true. And cause number ending in 06, the court has sentenced you to 8 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine, time and money to run concurrent. This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 012475. State will take in consideration 2024 PF 26211, 2025 CR 001487, night mag number 766582. In just 1 minute. Review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney. Did you understand it and sign it? Because these are plea bargaining agreements, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because these are felony convictions, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. And the court will also recommend a therapeutic community. All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. A lot of people have drug problems. I understand the issues with that. I appreciate when that happens to people. But you can't use your addiction to build your happiness off somebody else's misery. All of those people, guess what? They got to change their bank accounts. They probably got to have new social security cards, all of that. So here's the thing. If you want to truly maintain your sobriety, you can do that, right? There are plenty of places that will help you. But if you don't pick up the phone, and is there something for me to sign? If you don't pick up the phone and call somebody for help, nobody knows you need help. And when nobody knows you need help, there's nothing they can do. What's going to end up happening to you if you don't maintain your sobriety? Only two possible things can happen. One, you end up spending the rest of your life in prison. Or two, somebody ends up identifying your body. Because you can get a hold of bad drugs and then people overdose. It happens, right? And if your body is found on the side of the road or in a field, you know who's going to have to come identify your body? Your parents. And I don't think you want that. You understand? When you're released from prison, if you can't find a place that can help you out, if I'm still here, you can come back here and I will find a place for you. Do you understand? All right. You're welcome. Good luck to you, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, who's your, oh, thank you.
Have a seat, sir.
All right, who do you have left?
Moses Martinez.
Do I have a file on Moses Martinez?
Good NPR.
Some additional.
Thanks, Hunter. It's always good seeing you.
I was gonna recommend the therapeutic community too.
Aw.
Well, I mean, ask you to recommend.
Yeah. All right, thank you. All right, court is calling 2020 CR 7235 State versus Moses Albert Martinez. Can I have parties announced for the record?
Jason Gary here for the state.
Defense?
Lindsay Shaw for Mr. Martinez.
And are you Mr. Martinez? Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you the same Moses Albert Martinez who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 7235 for the offense of possession of controlled substance penalty group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams on May 23rd, 2024 for a term of 10 years? Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Violating condition number 41, on or about the 11th day of April 2025 in Thur County, Texas, the defendant Moses Albert Martinez did in their failed to comply with the rules and regulations of felony drug court in violation of condition 41.
All right. So we can go off the record. Just one moment.
Yes.
All right, so the motion to revoke should read possession with intent to deliver. And he's actually on probation for 2 counts. He's on probation for counts 1 and count 2. And let me see. And count 1 was count 1 was possession with intent to deliver. And count 3, and I'm sorry, he's on for counts 1 and counts 3. And count 3 was possession with intent to deliver as well. And they're both first-degree felonies. All right. So you were placed on deferred adjudication for count 1 and count 3. And both are possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance penalty group 1 of 4 to 200 grams. Any objection to the motion to revoke reflecting that it is possession with intent to deliver?
No, Judge.
All right. So you've entered a plea of true to violation of condition number 41. Did you understand by entering a plea to violation of condition number 41. And I'm assuming this is for both, for counts 1 and counts 3.
Yes.
That by entering true to 41 in count 1 and in count 3, both of those carry a range of punishment of anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 41 and counts 1 and 2? I'm sorry, counts 1 and 3. The court will find violation of condition number 41 and counts 1 and 3 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Your Honor. It's deny the motion, continue in on his probation, and have him alter and amend his condition to include state ISF with aftercare.
All right, so what I can tell you, you're gonna have 2 choices. 1, I can revoke you. I'll sentence you to 5 years in the prison. Or 2, I can continue you, but you're going to safety. So those are your only 2 choices. There's no third option.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Drug court really helped me and I messed that up and I learned my lesson, but it did show me how to be sober. As you can see, everything I was doing good is just, it was an old phone, this, and I don't got nothing. It was an old phone and it was an old number. And I got rid of it. So here,
It's not allowed.
I know.
Ms. Abrams, what is your recommendation?
The original court summary indicated safely. This one was amended to state ISF positive. I did reach back out to drug court to see if they would be willing to accept it back, and they said flat out no.
All right. I know what the issues were with felony drug court because they just don't release somebody because of phone. So there's more going on. And it wasn't an old phone because when you're in felony drug court and you're in actively in treatment, you know to change people, places, and things. And part of your changing things was that phone and what you were doing with that phone. All right, the court will deny the motion, alter and amend conditions to include safety. And he's to remain in custody until he's transferred to safety. And that's with aftercare. And then after he's completed those 2 things, let's do another referral to felony drug court after completion and see if they change their mind. If they don't change their mind, then have him brought back to court before he's released. All right. Is there anything else you need from the court? You're welcome. All right, we can go off the record here on out. You're looking at life in prison. Is it worth it? All right, you better start acting like it, okay? You. All right.
Yeah. Going in there. You wanna hold them?
All right, they're all here?
Yes, Judge, they are.
Okay. All right, State, do you have your witness?
Yes, Judge.
Oh, if you can go ahead and have them brought in.
He's right.
Bye. Okay.
calls Officer Salas.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Sammy Salas.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Officer Salas. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, my name is Officer Sammy Salas. I work at West Dog Watch. That's the overnight shift. And I've been there for a little over 3 years as working patrol.
Okay. Are you, what agency are you employed with?
San Antonio Police Department.
Okay. And you said you've been doing that about 3 years?
I've been there a little over 3 years.
Are you a certified peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you explain to the jury the training that you underwent to become a law enforcement officer with SAPD?
San Antonio has the training academy. It's like 8 or 9 months, something like that. And that's where I got certified to be a police officer.
Okay. And you said that you're assigned to where?
To the west substation in San Antonio?
And your designation is a patrol officer?
Yes, ma'am. Patrol.
Okay. And as part of your duties as a patrol officer, what do you do?
I respond to the biggest part of my job is responding to 911 calls.
Okay. Is West Patrol the only assignment that you've ever had with SAPD?
Other than training and things like that, yes, I've only been on West.
Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention to August 20th of 2023 at 2 a.m. Were you employed as a police officer with the San Antonio Police Department on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what shift you were working on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
What shift was that?
Dog watch shift. It's typically from 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 in the morning.
Oh. And on that day, were you in uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you in a marked patrol unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you dispatched to a location?
Yes, I was dispatched to El Volcan.
And is that located in Bear County, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what type of location that is?
It's like it's like a bar with music, stuff like that.
And is that located at 6844 Ingram Road, San Antonio, Texas?
I believe so, ma'am.
Did you make entries into a key card regarding this incident?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Would it help you to refresh your memory if you had a copy of that?
I think it would. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm showing you what has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit number 15. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that your name on this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And are these entries that you made into the document?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the document?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can use it to refresh your memory, just please don't read from
And
it.
I'm sorry, what exhibit number was that?
It was State's Exhibit 15.
Thank you.
All right. Do you recall the reason that you were dispatched to El Volcan?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What was the reason?
I don't know if it came out as a disturbance or an assault in progress or an assault.
Okay. And was there a case number that was associated with the incident?
Yes, there is a case number associated with this incident.
Okay, is that number SAPD 2023 1179726?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you said that you're dispatched to the location. Were you wearing a body worn camera on that day?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay, and were you competent to operate that body worn camera on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 16. I'm gonna pull the contents out of the envelope. Do you recognize what this is?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
That's my body worn camera footage.
Okay, and have you reviewed this?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it have any identifying marks on it?
It's right there, ma'am.
Okay, and is that how you are able to know that it is the same thing that you viewed?
That's correct. Yes.
When you viewed it, is it a fair and accurate depiction of the events as they occurred on the offense date?
Yes, ma'am.
And to your knowledge, except for to comply with legal rules, has it been altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
At this time, the state offers
I previously reviewed that, and there's no objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 16 is admitted without objection.
permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
I'm publishing State's Exhibit number 16, and I'm fast forwarding to the 52nd. All right, can you please describe the scene that you encountered when you arrived at El Volcan on that night?
Yes, ma'am. I arrived and I was approached by a female and a male along with another. There's like two females, two males, something like that. A group of individuals came to me as I was coming out of my patrol car at the front of the bar for the entrance and exit.
Okay. And as a patrol officer, what are your duties when you respond to a call?
First and foremost, make sure everyone is safe. And then, listen to the report that they give me.
Okay. As part of your duties, do you identify witnesses?
Yes, ma'am.
In 5 minutes and 3 seconds. Ten minutes and 15. I'm gonna pause right here, and so you've previously reviewed this before. While you were on scene, did you identify any people that you needed to take statements from?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay, and upon arrival on what we can see displayed on the State's Exhibit number 16, did you speak with any of those individuals?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Which individuals would that be?
The lady in the middle there.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to speak into your mic because I'm having a hard time hearing you, okay?
Yes, ma'am, the lady in the middle.
All right, and so normally when you respond to a call for service and there's multiple witnesses, what are you supposed to do with that?
If there's a crime, it's better if you separate everybody and get everyone's statement individually.
Okay, and did you do that in this case?
No, I did not.
Now, regarding the female that is in the middle, did you obtain her information?
I did, ma'am.
Do you recall what her first name is?
Esperanza.
Okay, and did you get the mail to the right of her's name?
I did not.
And what about the mail to the left of her?
I did not. I did not.
Okay, and then playing the state's exhibit number 16. And fast forward to 20 minutes and 8 seconds. Okay, now, the female that's standing on the right where my mouse is toggling in the black shirt, did you get her information?
I did not get her information now.
Okay, and the male that is to the left of her, did you obtain his information? I can play this piece of it. Okay, what was his name?
Pablo.
All right. Now you're dispatched there. And you have multiple witnesses, but how many witnesses did you actually take a preliminary statement from?
I want to say like 3.
Okay, and who would that include? Would that
Yes.
include Esperanza?
Esperanza
And would that include Pablo?
and Pablo.
Did Pablo make an outcry to you at the scene?
Yes, he did.
While you were stopped there, there was some mention about cameras, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what was going on with that?
They had mentioned that there might be cameras inside the facility.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
Esperanza perhaps.
All right. Did you ever make any attempt to go inside the location and ascertain whether they had security cameras?
I did not, ma'am.
Okay, and so did you ever view any surveillance footage from inside of the location?
No, ma'am.
Ultimately, that night, did you ever make contact with anyone and ask them for consent to view cameras?
No, ma'am.
That night, you decide to not make any arrests, is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
And in your duties as a patrol officer, you stated that that includes taking preliminary statements, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so, when you take preliminary statements, does that get forwarded to a follow-up unit?
If a case is generated, then yes. If not, then no.
Okay, and so did you generate a case on August 20th of 2020?
No, I did not.
Okay, and why is that?
I didn't generate a case because at the time I felt it was a mutual fight.
All right, and so at the time that you responded, because you didn't have any video footage, it's fair to say that you did not have the totality of the evidence in the case, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and have you had an opportunity, well, I'm gonna show you, State's Exhibit number 2.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna object at this point. Judge, I'm gonna object. This is not part of his investigation. He said he didn't receive this. I'm not sure his commentary on it would be relevant, Judge.
All right, that objection will be overruled. And could I have parties approach briefly, please?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you. I'm publishing State's Exhibit number 2. Now, after viewing State's Exhibit number 2, would that have changed that? If you had had it at the time that you responded to the location, would that have changed the actions that you took on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, when you responded, well, you said that you're on West Patrol, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so as part of being a patrol officer on West Patrol, had you previously responded to that location before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were you familiar with the management there or the owner?
The owner, I know who he is. That's not that I know who he is. It's, I can visually recognize him as being the owner.
All right, and do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Would you please point to him and identify him by an article of clothing?
He's that man right there in the brown. I don't remember his first name.
Thank you. I'll let the record reflect this witness have identified the defendant in the case. Now, did you make brief contact with him on the offense date?
I believe so, ma'am.
Okay, and did he ever make any outcry to you about being in fear for his life?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You talk the witness.
All right, defense.
When you respond, my name is Larry Bloomquist. I represent Mariana Rendon. We have never met before today. Is that correct, officer?
That's correct, sir.
So one of the main duties that you have when you're responding to a scene like this is to identify any potential witness. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
And one of the ways that you identify those potential witnesses, you get follow-up contact information. So if there's any kind of follow-up investigation, you can identify those people. And if, like, for example, let's say later on a detective's to be assigned, he can then identify the people and make contact with them, correct?
Correct.
And so that's why it's so important to take the names, addresses, phone numbers of every person that you're in contact with. Would you agree with that?
I agree, sir.
And then while you're doing that, you could then run the person through your information system and see if they have any active warrants, correct?
Correct, sir.
So this group of people that are making a complaint to you, there's several individuals there, right?
Yes, sir.
And about how many would you say there were? 5 to 6?
Seems about right.
And out of those 5 to 6, who did you identify, if any?
I identified the lady I stated previously,
Mhm.
the niece, and the uncle that was involved in the altercation.
And wouldn't it be important to identify all those other people that are potential witnesses to this? And it takes like literally a second, right? What's your name? What's your address? What's your phone number? What's your date of birth? Correct?
Sounds right, sir?
So in just, 3 seconds identified someone, correct?
Yes, sir.
So if you've taken basically like maybe, let's give it 30 seconds to identify all 5, that would have been possible?
Not 30 seconds, but I see where you're going with that, sir.
Within a minute, you could get that level of information, correct?
In little time.
Okay, and you didn't do that.
Correct, sir.
So we have no idea who these other people that were involved in this is. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
And again, if there's cameras inside, and if you wanted to, you could have gone and gotten those cameras or went inside and asked to review them, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And you didn't do that.
Correct, sir.
When you made contact with the female who was that was the main person that you were speaking with, correct? That's Esperanza Garza.
That's correct, sir.
When you were making contact with her, did you?
From Paris, but yes, sir.
Okay. Did you notice her to be intoxicated?
It was clear she had some drinks. I don't know to what level.
But it was fair to say that you were able to observe that she'd been drinking, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you deal with people that are drinking all the time. It's part of your job.
That's correct, sir.
And that's kind of what you'd expect also at a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning, a little bit after 2.
That's exactly right, sir.
The same thing with Pablo Rodriguez. Did you notice him to be drinking as well?
Yes, sir.
And did you feel that he was more intoxicated than her or the same?
They all were about the same, sir.
Did you take a statement from the other people involved? Did you take a statement from Anthony Cochran, the security officer that was involved?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Cochran told you that he was assaulted as well.
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
Judge goes to his decision to arrest or not arrest.
All right, with regards to hearsay, that will be sustained.
Did you take a statement from Mariano Rendon?
No, sir.
Okay. Was there possible that another officer took his statement?
Yes, sir.
But if another officer did take the statement, you're not aware of what statement that would be? Is that fair to say?
The other officer talked to me about his interaction.
But you don't have any personal knowledge of that, correct?
Correct,
Just what the
sir.
other officer told you.
That's correct, sir.
I'll pass witness.
State,
Just regarding the lack of witness information, at one point during your body worn camera, isn't it correct, a truck is passing by and is trying to flag you and your partner down and your partner waved him off, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that something that y'all are trained to do?
No, ma'am.
No, during an investigation, it's important to obtain statements from all possible witnesses and parties involved, correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
All right. Now, moving on to the people that you observed to be intoxicated. As a peace officer with SAP, you're specifically trained in identifying clues of intoxication, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and some of those clues could be bloodshot, red eyes, correct?
That's correct.
As well as slurred speech, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As well as an odor of alcohol on the breath, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As well as a loss of balance and swaying, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you observe those signs of intoxication, those are supposed to be reflected in your report, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're gonna deem somebody intoxicated, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and none of that was documented in this case, correct? Regarding the witnesses.
There is an entry.
Okay, what does the entry say?
But it's not for me.
What is it?
I'm the cover officer. Observe party,
Go ahead.
observe parties involved being highly intoxicated and combative.
Okay. And none of the clues that I just said are documented anywhere, correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
In fact, you all did not stop those individuals from leaving in their own vehicles, isn't that correct?
That's not correct. I don't know how they left.
Okay, but did you have a concern that they were intoxicated?
Not to that degree.
Not to the degree of, you believe that they were able to operate a motor vehicle if they needed to?
Not to that degree either. I didn't find them. I thought they were capable of finding a good ride or going about it the correct way.
Okay, so when we talk about intoxication, the legal definition is having a blood or breath alcohol concentration of a 0.08 or higher, correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
All right, or a person can lose their mental or physical faculties, isn't that correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
All right, and so are you saying that in your interactions with them, you did not find that they had lost their mental and physical faculties?
I want to say yes, but the way you said that.
Did you believe that they had lost the normal use of their mental and physical faculties?
Not to that degree.
Okay, because you believe that they were still competent to either drive or get a ride, is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
All right. Pass the witness, Aaron.
Briefly, at the time of this event, this would have been August of 2023. How long had you been on the police force?
One year and 5 months approximately.
And the other officer, the officer who said that they were highly intoxicated and combative, what was his name?
AC Wilson.
And how long had Mr. Wilson been on the?
I think he has 1 year of seniority on me.
And so two officers can have a difference of opinion. He may have found the people to be combative and highly intoxicated, and you may not say that. Would you agree that two different officers can have different opinions?
That's correct, sir.
And who was the primary person discussing the case with them? Was it you or Officer Wilson?
With who, sir?
With these people that you failed to identify, and Esperanza and Pablo.
Well, we kind of shared the work, sir.
Okay, so you were both observing the same people,
Yes, sir, to some degree.
and you just had a difference of opinion about their level of intoxication.
That's correct, sir.
I'll pass witness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state judge.
Excuse from the defense rep.
The rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone except for attorneys for the state or the defense. You're not allowed to view anything concerning this trial. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down. Make sure you leave the microphone behind that's attached. All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls Esperanza Garza.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. And then the judge will swear you.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury can hear. If you'll state your name for the record.
Esperanza Garza.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Esperanza, how old are you currently?
23.
Okay, and what city do you currently live in?
Oh, here in San Antonio, Texas.
How long have you lived in San Antonio, Texas?
My whole life.
I'm gonna approach you and. Oh. You could speak into that.
Oh,
All right, and did you attend high school in San Antonio?
yes, ma'am.
What high school did you?
Ludo Burbank.
And who do you live with currently?
With Carlos, my husband.
Okay, and what's his last name?
Carlos Rodriguez.
You all have children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
Now I want to talk to you about August 20th of 2023. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
Who were you with on that day?
I was with Ricardo Paz and Carlos Rodriguez.
Okay. And what were y'all doing on that day?
We were celebrating Carlos's birthday the day before.
Okay, so and when is Carlos's birthday?
The next day.
So that would have been
Yeah, the next day of the incident.
the next day after the incident.
Yes.
Okay. And so where did you all decide to go celebrate Carlos's birthday?
Volcan.
Is Volcan located in Bexar County, Texas?
Yes.
Okay. And had you previously been there before?
Yes.
Excuse me, do you need any tissue?
No, not again.
Okay.
No, it's contested.
Oh, no problem.
And in fact, how did you and Carlos Rodriguez meet?
At Volcan.
And so who all went with you to Volcan that night?
It was just Ricardo Paz and Carlos Rodriguez, who we met and saw them with Tina and Pablito.
Okay. I'm gonna show you what's been marked as state's exhibit number 17. Have you viewed this before?
Yes,
And can you tell me what it is?
it's the video of me walking out.
Okay, and did you put any identifying marks on this?
No.
Did you sign it? Okay. And is your signature on it how you're able to realize that it's the same video that you viewed earlier?
Yes.
And when you viewed this video, was it a true representation of how you walked out of Volcan on that night?
Yes.
At this time, the state tenders state's exhibit number 17 to defense.
I'm gonna need to review this, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Need to review it. I haven't seen it.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you about a 10-minute break and we will come back. Remember my previous instructions, you're not to view anything about this case and you're not allowed to do any investigation or even think about this case outside the courtroom, okay? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors and I'll have you all back at 2:55. That's a little bit more than 10 minutes.
No objection.
State's Exhibit number 17 is admitted without objection.
Um,
17,
all right, Esperanza. Now I'm gonna publish, or permission to publish, Your Honor.
granted.
I'm going to show you what has been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit number 17. All right, can you see the screen up there, okay?
Yes,
All right, now, do you see the female my mouse is toggling over?
yes, me,
Who's that?
me,
Okay, and the male behind you, who is that?
Carlos Rodriguez,
And the male behind him, who is that?
Ricardo Vaz.
Okay. And regarding Carlos, you said that he's your husband, is that correct?
Yes,
About how long have you all been married?
we've been together over 2 years.
Okay. And do you all have children together?
Yes,
Okay, how many do you?
2.
And so what is this video showing, if you know?
We're exiting Volcan.
Okay. And is this the party that you arrived with?
Yes.
Okay. And so you stated that when you arrived at Volcan, you ran into who?
To Tina and Pablo.
Okay. And do you know them?
Yes,
How do you know them?
they're Carlos's uncles.
Okay.
Oh,
And so when you guys get to Volcan, what are y'all doing there?
we were just listening to the music, dancing, we were drinking.
And do you recall about how many drinks did you have that night?
A few.
Okay. And so when you all do you recall about what time you all arrived?
I believe like around 11 or 12.
Okay, and about how long did you all stay at the location?
A little bit before closing.
Okay. Near closing time, did something out of the ordinary occur?
That's the situation when everything went down with Pablo when he tried to take a sip of the last drink.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury what happened to Pablo at last call?
So the guy came up to it, the security guard came up to us with a can of really told the cans that way. And he said, last call, drink it or throw it away. So Pablito took a sip of his drink. And when he was taking a sip of his drink, the security guard, I guess, got upset and then just went at him.
Okay. When you say Pablito, is that Pablo Rodriguez?
Yes, Pablo Rodriguez.
Okay. And when you say you guess the security guard got upset, was this something that you were able to observe?
He was just looking at us, but I had my bottle still in my hand and he didn't tell me anything.
Okay. And so what did the security guard do to Pablo?
Kind of like shoved him. And I guess that's when they rolled over because it was a 2-step of where the dancing place is at, then to the actual floor.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, there's a flat floor, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's where the security guard was standing.
Yes.
Okay, and Pablo and you and the others that were with you all were up on the second, there's a step up, is that correct?
No, we were in the first step.
Okay, oh, so one step.
Down, yeah.
Okay. And at some point, where did Pablo end up?
He just ended up on the floor with a security guard on top of him.
Okay, did you see Pablo strike the security guard first?
No, he had a beer in his hand.
And so once Pablo was on the ground, what did you observe?
The security guard just started hitting him, but that's when Ricardo Baz tried to say, hey, he's not doing anything, and they, I guess, attacked him too.
Okay. And when you say, well, so what happened with Ricardo Baz?
So when I saw Pablito on the floor, I turned around. Well, we went up on stage also on the second floor of the level of the dancing floor. And I told them to not hit Ricardo Baz. I mean, he came with us. And then they were just hitting him, and I saw let him go. and the whole situation with Pablito went down also.
Okay. So when Pablo, excuse me, was on the ground, did you see anybody else besides the security guard do anything to him?
Besides the security guards, I saw the owner of Volcan knee him.
Okay, you've observed the video states exhibit number 2, correct? That shows the offense?
Yes.
Okay, do you see the owner of Volcan here today?
Yes.
Okay, can you please point to him and identify him by an article of clothing that he's wearing?
And he's wearing a button-up purple shirt.
Okay, and is that the same individual that you saw assault Pablo?
Yes.
Okay. And so after you observed the defendant knee Pablo, what happened after that?
I just saw his other security guards get on top of him. And that's when I put myself in and I said, hey, he doesn't understand what y'all are telling him. Y'all are speaking English to him. And the owner of Volcan just kept telling me to get out of his face.
Okay, so when you say put yourself in, did you physically put your hands on anyone?
Not physically on him, but when he pushed me, I gave him a shove back.
Okay, but the reason that did you have concerns about Pablo and whether he was able to understand any commands that were being given to him?
I mean, he was just on the floor, say like in shock, because he didn't know who was on top of him and who was hitting him.
Okay, and you further stated regarding what language does Pablo speak?
Spanish.
Okay, and so was Pablo able to understand what people were telling him?
Objection called for speculation.
That will be sustained.
Were you concerned that Pablo may not have been able to understand what people were telling him?
Yes.
Okay, and did you express that to the security guards and to the owner of Volcan?
Yes, because he kept saying, "Que hice?" Like, what was I doing wrong?
Okay, and so after, well, I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 18. Do you recognize the disc?
Yes.
Okay, and have you viewed the contents of this disc before?
Yes.
Okay, and did you sign this disc when you viewed it?
Yes.
And is that the way that you're able to tell that it's the same disc that you viewed?
Mhm.
Okay, and when you observed what's on this disc, was it a true representation of what happened on the date of the offense?
Yes.
Okay, and to your knowledge, has it been altered in any way?
No.
Okay. At this time, the state offers this exhibit number 18.
And I'll just renew my objection, Your Honor.
All right, those objections are overruled. State's exhibit number 18 is admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
Yeah, Esperanza, I'm gonna ask you to look at the screen and I'm going to publish state's exhibit number 18. And I'm gonna pause state's exhibit number 18. I'm gonna back up a little bit. So where my mouse is toggling right here, who is that?
Carlos Orbe,
And where my mouse is toggling right here, who is that?
the owner of Volcan.
Okay, and the female that was depicted in the state's exhibit right there, who is that?
Me.
And so, when did this happen in relation to the assault of Pablo?
It's when I went to the side and I told him to stop hitting Pablo because another security guard came on top of him. And Carlos said, well, he told his uncle in Spanish to not resist. And that's when they hit. I gave him like a little shove. They gave him a shove. So I got in front of him and I said, he didn't do nothing, don't hit him. And then that's when they hit me. And I said a foul language. And then that's when the owner of Volcan hit me.
Okay, did you have any injuries from that?
My face was bruised up from to left to the right, kinda, of my left cheek, and I had a busted lip.
Okay. Now after you were assaulted, did you stay inside of the Pentagon or where did you go?
I did a little argument with him because I was upset that he had put his hands on me. And then we decided just to leave.
Okay. When you left, did you call anyone?
I called the cops.
Okay. And, did you speak with the cops on that night?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you spoke with the cops, what name did you provide them?
Esperanza Perez.
Okay, and is that your correct last name?
It was my previous.
Okay, is there a reason why you gave them, that last name?
It was on my previous relationship.
Okay, but did you have ticket warrants at the time?
Oh, yes, I had warrants.
Okay, and were you concerned, about that?
Yes.
I'm going to publish State's Exhibit number 16. On State's Exhibit number 16, the female that I'm pointing to, who is that?
Me.
And the male to your right?
Carlos Rodriguez.
Okay, and the male to your left?
Ricardo Bad.
Okay. And the female that's to the left in the black shirt, who is that?
Tina.
And the male that's depicted right here where my mouse is hovering, who is that?
Pablo.
Do you know if Pablo had an opportunity to speak to the police that night?
When I spoke to the police first, him and Tina came up to us and also gave in their report.
Okay. And how were you feeling when you were speaking to the police officers?
I was upset. I was angry. I mean, I just got hit in the face.
Okay. Did you feel like the police officers were being responsive to you or taking you seriously?
No, not really. They were just looking at me like I was just another drunk girl or another individual.
And did that kind of add to some of the reason why you were upset?
Yes.
Now, regarding, after you made contact with the police, where did you go?
I went home.
Okay. We passed the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense?
My name is Attorney Larry Blumenthal. I represent Mariano Rendon. We've never met before today, is that correct? So I want to go back and talk about this evening. So what time did you arrive at El Volcan?
I would say around 11 to 12-ish.
And when you arrived, did you know that Tina and Pablo were going to be there?
No.
And where had you been before you got to El Volcan?
We were just home.
What time did you leave home?
I would say around 10:30.
And had you had anything to drink while you were at home?
No.
And when you got to El Volcan, you said you were drinking. How much did you have to drink that night?
We had bought a bucket. There was 3 of us, so maybe like 3 beers the most.
And so when they asked, isn't it true that they asked Pablo multiple times, the security officer, to give up his beer? Isn't that correct?
No.
And isn't it correct that at some point the security officer tried to grab the beer out of Pablo's hand?
Yes.
And at that point, Pablo grabbed the security officer, correct?
No.
And at some point, they begin to struggle, Pablo and the security officer, correct?
I'm not sure.
Well, they're both grabbing each other at some point,
Oh,
correct?
yes, sorry.
And at some point, they end up on the ground, correct?
Yes,
And there's a period of time when Pablo's on top of the security officer, and another time when the security officer's on top of Pablo, correct?
no,
And during this fight, you're kind of getting involved, correct?
yes,
And in fact, there's Mr. Valles, am I pronouncing his last name right? Correct, Valles, Valles, is that correct?
I don't know who that is.
Who's the third person with you? It's Ricardo.
Or Baz,
Huh?
Baz,
Baz, B-A-Z?
P-A-Z.
Okay. So Mr. Baz is also getting involved at some point, you said that, correct?
Yes,
And as far as from the bar, there's actually the security officer who's struggling with Pablo. There's also two other members of the staff there as well, correct?
yes,
And one of the guys was the guy who was collecting that had the trash can, the porter that was collecting the beers,
Yeah.
correct? And there was another gentleman there also from the bar doing the same thing, collecting the beers from the people that were still drinking, correct?
I'm not sure.
And at some point, there was a huge pushing match between all of these guys, between Mr. Baz and the two people that are working at the staff and the security guard, right? So there's at least 3 males there, and then there's at least 3 males from the bar, correct?
I'm not sure.
At some point, there's a period of time where the members of the bar are trying to keep Mr. Baz and you away from the altercation between the security officer and Mr. Rodriguez, Pablo Rodriguez, correct?
Yes,
And at some point, your boyfriend, I'm assuming, is Mr. Rodriguez in the white shirt that's trying to keep you away, correct?
mhm,
And I can use your guys' system just because it's just easier. Can you pull up the first video that we had seen?
I can give you the mouse.
Oh, yeah. I just want to pause it and something. Okay, before we get to this video, you're the one that actually got this video, correct? Someone gave it to you?
yes.
Who gave it to you?
I'm not sure. Someone random sent it to me
How would they know who you are to send it to you if they didn't
because I
know?
posted it on Facebook.
Okay. And you saw it on Facebook, or how's that?
Yes, they sent it to me through Messenger.
Okay. How would they know you're one of the people involved unless they knew you personally?
No, I tagged Volcan and I tagged the situation. I posted the video.
And this video, it starts while everything is already well going on, correct?
Mm.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened before this video that's not depicted in this video, correct?
Yes,
And you don't know who made this video, and you don't know whether they edited or cut out any of the first part of it, correct?
yes.
No. You don't mind. I'm
No,
not
no.
trying to invade your
That's
space.
okay.
And right here, we see Carlos, he's actually grabbing you and trying to pull you away from this altercation, correct?
Yes,
Because he probably wants to protect you from being involved in this. But also, you'd agree with me, it's not helpful for you to be involved in this, correct?
yes,
You're actually just making things worse by interfering with what's going on. Fair to say?
if you were to say,
Huh?
if you were to say.
And at this point, again, we have Carlos, he's trying to pull you away from this and you keep going up towards the altercation, correct?
Yes,
And that's really just making things more difficult and more confused and more difficult. Is that fair to say?
if you were to say.
At some point, one of the porters in this case got a dislocated shoulder. Do you know how that happened?
No,
Okay. And he's one of the bar staff members. Was there a struggle between him and Mr. Boz?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well, you were there. Do you know?
No.
Okay. You see where I'm pointing at right here? There's another gentleman on the floor in the white shirt. Do you see who that person is?
Yes, Ricardo.
That's Ricardo Baz. It's laying on the ground here. There's
Yeah.
another person. We got Pablo over here and a security guard over here. We have another person on the ground and another, looks like security officer here. This person here in the white shirt, who is that? Is that Ricardo Baz?
Yeah,
So Mr. Baz is also fighting with the security, isn't that correct?
oh, yes,
Okay, so we have Pablo fighting with one security officer, and we have Mr. Baz fighting with another security officer. And then we have you coming in and out of the fight, being dragged away by Ricardo, correct?
being dragged by,
Carlos, I'm sorry, being dragged by Carlos,
yes.
correct? So we really have a melee here. We actually have at least 4 males fighting, and then we have you coming in and out of the action, correct?
Yes,
And the security officer had a firearm on him, isn't that correct?
I'm not sure.
During the fight, items of his uniform were being removed from him, correct? His hat was removed at some point. His baton was taken from him. His radio was taken from him. Isn't that correct?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay, you're not aware of that, but that's possible that that happened, correct?
I didn't see any of that.
Okay. And if we know for a fact that the radio left the location and went to a third location, were you involved with that?
No,
At some point, has you and there's Mr. Rendon. Did you know, had you ever met Mr. Rendon before?
no, I've just seen him from far away.
I will say El Balcon is a romantic place. You're the second couple that got married after being there.
Mm,
Unfortunately, it's closed, so I don't think we're gonna have any more marriages, but that's very romantic. But you'd seen him before?
from a distance, yes.
Okay. So he's telling you, get back, right?
Yes.
He's trying to stop everyone from fighting.
Mm,
And that's the purpose of him saying, get back.
yes.
But you're not getting back. You're coming back towards him at that point.
Mm,
And he's flipping his hand at you saying, get back, right?
yes.
Because again, he's trying to contain this. We already have at least 4 males fighting over here on the floor, and he's trying to calm the situation down. And you keep coming back, and you've got Carlos with him. He doesn't know what Carlos is about to do or not do, right? So he's trying to get both you and Carlos to step back so that they can deal with this situation that's going on.
Mm,
And you'd agree with me that it's a dangerous situation because we have a man that has a gun on the dance floor. We have a bunch of people that are intoxicated. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. If they removed some items of his clothing, it's reasonable that they could remove his firearm as well, correct?
I'm gonna object to speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
And at this point, again, Mr. Carlos is trying to pull you back, but you want to get involved in the fight. You're getting up involved in it. And you hear Mr. Rendon saying again, get back, right?
Yes.
At some point, isn't it true that you grabbed Mr. Rendon around the neck?
No.
Is it possible you did and you don't remember because the fight was going on?
I do remember, but I never put a hand on him until he pushed me.
And if Mr. Rendon has a scratch on the back of his neck that might be consistent with you grabbing him by the neck, you disagree with that?
I never grabbed him on his neck.
And here we are. Carlos just pulled you back again, and you're stepping back in to create more of a problem, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, Mr. Rendon pushes you and you step back several steps, correct?
Yes.
Were you there when Pablo was brought out of the building?
No.
No? I'll pass the witness.
State.
Briefly, Esperanza, when you say you were kind of getting involved, were you trying to physically participate in what was going on and put your hands on the security guard or Pablo or boss?
No.
What were you trying to do?
I was just asking for them to let him go because he didn't understand him. They just kept repeatedly talking to him and speaking to him in English.
Okay. And were you concerned for his safety? Is that why you felt like you needed to get involved?
Yes.
Okay, and is that why you weren't really backing up when the defendant was telling you to get back?
Yes.
Now, there was some mention about someone sending you the video through Facebook Messenger, is that correct?
Yes.
And so you said that you made a post and you tagged the Volgan Facebook page, is that correct?
Yes.
And did anyone from El Volcan respond to your post?
Yes, the owner.
And what did he say?
That he would be suing me also about the scratch that he had in the back of his neck.
And what was your response to that?
That it could have been from an altercation from him arguing and fighting with some ladies outside also from his Volcan.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay. And is that something that you personally observed on that night?
Yes.
And was that after the assault of Pablo and yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Now regarding Pablo, I want to take you back to when he was asked to discard his beer. When Pablo was asked to discard his beer, did Pablo put his hands on the security guard at all?
No.
Okay. And regarding Ricardo Vaz, did Ricardo put his hands on any security guard first?
First, no.
How did Ricardo get involved in what was going on?
He was doing what I was doing. He was asking Pablito not to move and not to fight back.
Okay, and then who approached Ricardo?
One of the security guards.
And what did that security guard do?
Just started fighting with him on the floor or wrestling.
Okay. We passed the witness.
Defense.
Isn't it true that had Carlos just pulled you to the side, right? Had Carlos just pulled you to the side and you stayed there, most likely you wouldn't have gotten hit, correct?
Yes.
So when you chose to get involved in this fight, you put yourself in the line of danger because you know that there's men fighting over here. And instead of staying over here where you're safe, you felt it was necessary for you to get involved, correct?
Yes.
I'll pass witness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state.
Subject to recall.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to view anything or discuss your testimony with anyone except for attorneys for the state or the defense. Make sure you're available if either party decides to recall you.
Oh.
You may step down if you'll remove the side microphone, please. And state and defense, you both have exhibits 17 and 18, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls Pablo Rodriguez. Carlos Rodriguez, excuse me.
Did you need something? Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Yes. Do you want us to exit and have,
Yes, if they'll put everything on to make sure it works.
if we could just have a moment, please.
Yes. If you'll take a seat here, please. Oh, have a seat. Sit. All right, we have an interpreter here. If you could raise your right hand for me, please. For the interpreter. All right. Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you may lower your hand. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this witness is going to testify through an interpreter. If you speak the Spanish language, you are not allowed to use your own interpretation. The witness's statement and what the witness is saying is through the translator. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, sir, if you can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. All right, so here's the thing. Either you're going to respond in Spanish or you respond in English, but you cannot do both.
Perdón.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. The court understands that sometimes people may understand some English, but not all. But we have an interpreter here, so the interpreter is to be used 100%. Do you understand? See.
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
What is your name?
¿Cuál es su nombre, señor?
Carlos Dorantes Rodríguez.
Carlos Dorantes Rodriguez.
And how old are you?
¿Qué edad tiene, señor?
23 años.
23 years old.
What city do you currently live in?
¿Dónde vivo actualmente?
Where I live currently?
Yes, what city do you currently live in?
San Antonio.
In San Antonio.
About how long have you lived in San Antonio?
4 años.
4 years.
And who do you live with here in San Antonio?
Con mi esposa.
With my wife.
What is your wife's name?
Esperanza Garza.
Esperanza Garza.
And how long have you all been together?
Son como 2 años y medio.
About 2.5 years.
Do you all have children with each other?
Sí,
How
Yes.
many?
uno y él está embarazada.
1, and she is pregnant.
Okay. Now, I want to take you back to August 20th of 2023. Do you recall that day?
Sí,
Yes.
Who were you with on that day?
con mi esposa y un amigo.
With my wife and a friend.
And what is the name of your friend?
Ricardo Valls.
Ricardo Valles.
I'm going to show you what's been entered into evidence as state exhibit number 17. Can you see the screen?
Sí,
Yes.
Who is this female on state exhibit number 17?
Esperanza Garza.
Esperanza Garza.
And who is this male behind Esperanza?
Soy yo.
That is me.
And who is the male behind you?
Ricardo Valls.
Ricardo Valles.
Okay. Where did you, Esperanza, and Ricardo decide to go on that day?
Estábamos en casa y nos visitó y salimos a bailar y a celebrar lo de mi cumpleaños.
We were at home and he stopped by to visit, so we went out to dance and to celebrate my birthday.
And when is your birthday?
El 20 de agosto.
August 20th.
Okay. And where did you all decide to go? Or what location did you all go to dance at?
Al volcán.
To Volcan.
And is Volcan located in San Antonio, Texas?
Sí,
Yes.
And is this a place that you had visited previously?
sí, nos gustaba mucho la música y salir a bailar nos gusta.
Yes, we like the music there a lot and we like going out to dance.
Okay. Do you recall about what time you arrived at Volcan?
No exactamente.
Not exactly.
Okay. When you arrived at Volcan, what did you do?
Entramos y pues empezamos a disfrutar de la música.
We went inside and we started enjoying the music.
While you were inside, did you run into anyone that you know?
Sí, a mi tío.
Yes, my uncle.
What is your uncle's name?
Pablo Rodríguez.
Pablo Rodríguez.
And was someone there with Pablo?
Su esposa.
His wife.
Do you know his wife's name?
Tina Jiménez.
Tina Jimenez.
All right. And once you ran into your uncle and his wife, what did you all do?
Estuvimos juntos disfrutando de la noche.
We were together enjoying the night.
Prior to arriving at Volcan, did you have plans to meet your uncle and Tina there?
No,
No.
Okay. At some point during the night, did something out of the ordinary occur involving your uncle Pablo Rodriguez?
sí, el incidente de su herida.
Yes, the incident of his wound.
Can you please describe to the jury what happened?
Sucedió
inconveniente él terminó en el hospital.
There was some inconvenience that happened. He ended up in the hospital.
Okay. Regarding the inconvenience, what happened involving your uncle Pablo Rodriguez and the beer?
Sí, que salió mal algo con un hombre de seguridad y de ahí comenzó pues él cayó al suelo.
There's
Lo derribaron.
something that went wrong with the security guard, and that's when that incident began, and he fell to the floor.
Did you see the security guard approach Pablo Rodriguez?
Sí,
What
Yes.
did the security guard tell Pablo?
le arrebató una cerveza y de ahí comenzó, como no estuve muy cerca, comenzó cuando ya lo derribaron.
He grabbed the beer from him, and that's where everything began. I wasn't very close, but that's where they brought him down.
Did you ever see Pablo hit the security guard first?
Nunca.
Never.
Once Pablo was on the floor, what did you observe?
Estaba tratando de calmarse, como que todo se calmara, y ya luego llegó otro hombre y lo atacó.
He was trying to remain calm. He was trying to keep everybody calm, but then another man arrived and attacked him.
The other man that arrived and attacked Pablo, do you know who he was?
No conozco su nombre.
I don't know his name.
Have you seen him there at the club before?
Sí,
Yes.
And what did he usually do at the club?
estaba como observando, cuidando, no sé, su trabajo.
He was there watching and looking out, doing his job.
Did you know him as the owner of the club?
Sí,
Okay.
Yes.
What did you observe the owner of Volcan do to Pablo?
le golpeó con su rodilla cuando Pablo estaba en el suelo.
He hit him with his knee when Pablo was on the floor.
And when you said that you were trying to keep everyone calm, did that include Esperanza Garza?
Si yo mantuve en calma a Esperanza. ¿Cómo?
You
No
mean if
entendí.
I kept Esperanza calm? I didn't understand.
Yes, were you trying, what was Esperanza doing at the time?
Estábamos juntos mirando toda la situación y tratando de que no pasara nada malo.
We were together observing the situation and trying for things not to get out of hand.
Okay, I'm gonna show you what has been entered into evidence on State Exhibit number 2. Can you see where my mouse is toggling?
Sí,
Yes,
Who is that person?
soy yo.
it's me.
And who are you hugging?
No alcanzo no puedo ver bien.
I can't see very well.
Who is that in your arms?
Mi esposa Esperanza Garza.
My wife, Esperanza Garza.
Were you trying to pull Esperanza back from where Pablo was?
Estaba, pues sí, tratando de que todo se calmara.
Well, yes, I was trying to keep everybody calm.
Okay. Now at some point, did Ricardo Vaz, what happened with Ricardo?
También lo derribaron.
He was brought down also.
Did you see who brought him down?
No, vi al hombre, pero no lo pude identificar.
No, I saw the man, but I couldn't identify him.
Did the man that brought him down work at Volcan?
Yo supongo que sí.
I suppose so.
Did Ricardo ever strike the person first?
No,
No.
Okay. Now, after the owner of Volcan assaulted Pablo, what did he do against Esperanza?
no sé exactamente cómo fue el golpe, pero la impulsó hacia mí y pues fue rápido.
I don't know exactly how the blow went, but he pushed her towards me. It happened quickly.
At any time, did you hit any employees of Volcan?
Nunca.
Never.
And were you ever involved in the assault at Volcan?
No.
No.
After the assault of Esperanza, did you leave Volcan?
Sí, mantenimos la calma para no buscar más problemas y procedimos a irnos enseguida después de que ya soltaron a Pablo.
Yes, we tried to remain calm. We didn't want to cause any more problems, and we left after they let Pablo go.
Once you were outside of the location, did the police arrive?
Sí, ya llamamos a la policía.
Yes, we called the police.
And who did you observe speak to the police?
Habló Tina Jiménez y mi esposa Esperanza.
Tina Jimenez and my wife Esperanza were the ones that spoke.
Did the police ever attempt to take a statement from you?
Yo no pude entender muy bien todo, así que me mantuve un poco alejado. O sea, no me involucré.
I couldn't understand everything, so I remained separated. I didn't get involved.
When you say you didn't understand everything, is that because the officers were speaking in English?
Sí, estaban hablando en inglés.
Yes, they were talking in English.
Okay, and Spanish is the language that you understand and speak better, is that correct?
Sí, es mi primer idioma.
Yes, it's my first language.
We pass the witness room.
Defense?
Carlos, you and I have never met before today, correct?
No.
No.
My name is Larry Bloomquist. I represent Ricardo, I'm sorry, not Ricardo, Mariano Rendon. Before you testified today, who did you discuss your testimony with?
No entendí.
I didn't understand.
Before you testified today, did you talk to somebody, did you talk to the prosecutors in the case about your testimony?
Sí hablaron conmigo sobre decir la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
Yes, they spoke with me about telling the truth and nothing but the truth.
And did you talk to Esperanza about your testimony?
Solo vinimos juntos de acuerdo a apoyar a Pablo.
What about,
We just came together to support Pablo. That was all.
did you discuss your testimony with Pablo or Tina?
No.
No.
And you met your wife there at El Volcan?
Sí, mucho tiempo atrás.
Yes, a long time ago.
How often did you go to El Volcan?
Cuando no teníamos a nuestro bebé, sí salíamos, digamos, una vez por mes, 2 veces por mes.
Before we had the baby, we used to go out once a month, sometimes 2 times per month.
And on the date that this happened, where were you? You said you were at your house before you went to El Volcan.
Sí, estábamos en casa.
Yes, we were at home.
And did you have anything to drink, alcoholic beverages before you went to El Volcan?
No,
No,
What about Mr. Baez?
no lo sé porque él llegó a visitarme a mi casa y después nos dirigimos al volcán.
I don't know because he stopped by my house to visit, and after that, we proceeded to go to Volcan.
What about Esperanza? Esperanza had anything to drink at the house before you went?
No,
No,
When you got to El Volcan, you are all drinking and dancing, correct?
un poco.
a little bit.
At some point, you met with Pablo and Tina, correct?
En la noche, ya en el volcán.
At night, when we got to Volcan.
And when you saw Pablo, he was celebrating his birthday.
Él no estaba celebrando mi cumpleaños, él fue por su cuenta.
Okay,
He wasn't there celebrating my birthday. He was there on his own account.
right, but you do know that that was his birthday that day, the 19th?
Yo sí sabía de su cumpleaños, años antes lo habíamos celebrado juntos, pero ese año no.
Yes, I did know that was his birthday. Years before, we had celebrated together, but not that year.
Okay. And when you saw Pablo, it was clear to you that he'd been drinking?
No, yo no sé sobre Pablo si estaba tomando antes.
I don't know about that. I don't know if he was drinking beforehand.
Okay, but I mean, you could tell that he was drinking at the bar, correct?
Un poco, cuando estuvo conmigo.
A little bit when he was with me.
And then, at the time that this altercation occurred, where were you standing in relationship to Pablo?
Estábamos un lado del otro. Estábamos en la pista de baile, en un lado.
We were next to each other on the dance floor, standing next to each other.
And at some point, someone came up and said that you guys needed, any drinks that you guys had to go into trash can, correct?
Cuando ya iban parece que a cerrar, creo.
I believe when they were about to close.
And at that point, Ricardo did not give up his beer immediately, correct?
Ricardo la tiró.
Ricardo threw it.
When you say he threw it, describe that.
O la pusieron en el bote de basura.
Oh, he put it in the trash can.
Yeah, but he actually threw it into the
No.
trash can with force, isn't that correct?
No.
No.
At some point prior to that, the security officer had tried to grab the beer. He'd asked Ricardo for the beer repeatedly, correct?
No.
No.
And at that point, at some point, the security officer was trying to grab the beer out of Pablo's hand.
A Ricardo no.
No,
Not to
Pablo.
Ricardo.
I'm sorry. He was trying to grab it out of Pablo's hand.
Solo se la arrebató.
He just took it away.
And at that time, Pablo grabbed the security officer.
No, fue al revés. El guardia agarró a Pablo.
No, it was the other way around. The security guard grabbed Pablo.
And Pablo began to struggle with the security guard, correct?
No, el guardia lo jaló.
No, the guard was the one that pulled him.
Other than the guard, there were 2 other employees of El Volcan there, correct? That were not security guards, but were employees of the bar.
No sé distinguirlos.
I couldn't make him out.
at some point, Pablo and the security guard end up on the ground, correct?
Sí terminaron en el piso.
Yes, they ended up on the floor.
And then there's a period of time when Pablo is on top of the security guard, and there's another time when the security guard's on top of Pablo, correct?
Yo creo que Pablo solo se trataba de levantar.
I think Pablo was just trying to get up.
Okay, but my question is, there was a time when Pablo was on top of the security guard, and there was another time when the security guard was on top of Pablo.
No lo creo.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. Okay, and in this video, you've got a chance to see this, correct? Yes?
No puedo distinguir bien la imagen.
I can't make out the image.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. You see, does this look like Pablo there on the ground?
No puedo ver.
I can't see him.
Oh, there's a glare. Can you look at the screen behind you?
Sí, Pablo está en el suelo.
Okay.
Yes, Pablo's on the floor.
And in this picture, we see the security guard on top of Pablo, correct?
Sí.
Yes.
And we see another man with his back turned, this man right here on his knees, correct?
Sí.
And
Yes.
he's one of the employees of the bar?
No lo conozco. No lo puedo distinguir.
I don't know him. I can't make him out.
We see another man in a white shirt that's laying on the ground, and that's Ricardo, correct?
Él es Ricardo, sí.
Yes, that is Ricardo.
And at this time, we see you with your arms around Esperanza, and you're trying to pull her away from the fight, correct?
No, pues solo estaba tratando de que no se hiciera más grande todo.
I was just trying to get things from keeping out of hand.
Right. But you have your arms around Esperanza, and we actually will see you pull her back, right?
Un poco nomás la estaba deteniendo.
A little bit. I was just trying to hold her.
We actually see you take about 3 steps back. Is that fair to say?
Sí, parece que sí.
Yes, it appears that way.
And at some point, you see the man. Did you know him by his name or not? Did you know the owner at all?
Personalmente no.
Okay.
Not personally.
But you see the man that identifies the owner telling you to get back, right? Let's listen.
Vamos a escuchar.
He's saying, get back, and moving his arm in this direction, right?
Sí.
Yes.
And while he's doing this, he's looking at you in Esperanza, correct?
Sí.
Yes.
And you're trying to do the right thing by moving Esperanza back, exactly what the man asked you to do, correct?
Exacto, nunca quisimos problemas.
Exactly. We didn't want any problems.
Well, you didn't want any problems, but there might have been other people that wanted problems, correct?
I'm gonna object to speculation or
Sustained.
So now you're continuing to pull Esperanza back, and we actually see you there kind of struggling with her where she's trying to pull forward, and she was trying to go back into the fight, correct?
Solo estaba diciendo que se detuvieran.
She was only telling them to stop.
But she's trying to step forward, and you're trying to pull her back. We see you struggle with her right there, correct?
Solo estaba tratando de tener todo lo que estaba pasando.
I was just
Nada
trying to stop what was going on.
I
That's
understand,
it.
but you have to answer my question. My question is, you're trying to pull her back and she's trying to step forward, correct?
Sí, ella estaba tratando de ir hacia adelante.
Yes, she was trying to go forward.
And right here, you've now taken a couple more steps back and we see her stepping forward, right?
Sí.
Yes.
At some point, is it possible that she grabbed the owner by the neck?
No, nunca.
No, never.
And at that point, let me back it up just a little bit more. We see him again saying, get back, correct?
Sí.
Yes.
And at this point, you're having a problem containing Esperanza because she wants to go back into the fight, right?
Sí la estaba deteniendo, pero ella no iba a pelear.
Yes, I was holding her back, but she was not there to fight.
Well, how are they supposed to know why she's approaching them?
Sustained.
So my point, at this point, you've now moved to the front of her and you're actually pushing her back with your body, trying to keep her from going back into where there's problems, correct?
Sí.
Yes.
And there you are again. You've pushed her back now, and she's trying to circle around and get around you to get back into the problem. Correct? You want to see it again?
Sí.
Yes.
Sí, no lo pude ver bien.
I couldn't see clearly.
It may be easier for you to watch the screen behind you. I don't know. You're actually pushing her back, and she still wants to go into the fight, correct? We actually see you push her back, and she's going around you to get back in the fight, correct?
Sí, solo trató de acercarse.
Yes, she was just trying to get close.
And you're blocking her with your body because you want her to be safe, correct?
Sí.
Yes.
If one of the porters that worked at the bar got a dislocated shoulder, how do you think that happened?
No sé.
I'm not, go ahead.
I don't know.
There was a time before, and this video starts, this dispute has already been going on for some period of time, correct?
Ya hace tiempo.
It had been a while.
And at some point, the people that worked at the bar were trying to push everybody away so that the security guard in Pablo could resolve itself by itself. Isn't that fair to say?
No, no entendí.
I didn't understand.
At some point, there are two bar staff members that are trying to push all these people away so that they're not in the area where the security guard and Pablo are. Isn't that correct?
Sí, estaban tratando de alejar a la gente. La gente se estaba acercando.
Yes, they were trying to push the people away. The people were trying to get close.
At some point, if a radio and a baton was taken off of the security guard, do you know who did that?
No.
No.
At the time that this occurred, so you live in San Antonio now, where did you live back in August of 2023?
En un apartamento. En un apartamento en military.
In an apartment on military.
And, afterwards, did any of the people in your party say that they had taken the radio?
No,
No,
The security guard in this case had a gun on him, isn't that correct?
no lo sé.
I don't know.
I'll pass witness.
No further questions.
All right, is this witness excused?
I
Subject
say
to-
yes.
Subject to recall, yeah.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to view anything about this trial or discuss your testimony with anyone except for attorneys for the state or the defense. Make sure you're available in case either side wishes to recall you. You may step down. All right, state, call your next witness.
The state calls Daniel Gross.
Court reporter,
Okay.
and then when you're testifying, speak into this is for the jury.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may have a seat. State your name for the record.
Daniel Gross,
All right, you may proceed, state.
Detective Gross, how are you currently employed?
with the San Antonio Police Department as a detective investigator,
And what unit are you currently with?
property crimes task force for the nighttime detail.
How long have you been with the San Antonio Police Department?
A little over 13 and a half years.
Going back 13 years when you started out, what training did you have to undergo to become a police officer?
Both, I guess, academic training with the penal code and the law, and then also tactical training and physical fitness.
Does the police department have an academy?
Yes,
Did you attend the academy?
yes.
After the academy, do you have a probationary period?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what does that look like?
There's, it's been a while, but I think there's around 12 weeks of rides, and there's 2 weeks of evaluations, and then the entire year you're considered on probation. From there, we have a monthly meeting with the sergeants.
Okay. So during the rides, are you riding with a more senior officer? Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And then when you're when you're let out on your own, what was your assignment? Were you a patrol officer?
Yeah, I was a patrol officer
How many years did you do that?
for 7 years.
Okay, and then after you were done with patrol, where did you go from there?
I promoted to detective, and I was a uniform evidence detective for about 6 months.
Okay. When you promote to detective, is there an exam that you have to take for that?
Yes.
Okay. After you were a uniform detective, evidence detective, where did you go from there?
From there, I did 2.5 years at nighttime major crimes or night CID.
And after that?
And after that, I did around 2.5 years at homicide.
Okay, and then from homicide, did you go to property crime?
Correct.
All right. Now I want to talk to you, and just as a detective, are you a certified peace officer in the state of Texas?
Yes.
And is that through an agency called TCOL?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay, and is that a statewide licensing?
Yes, it's state.
Okay. Now I want to take you back to the month of August of 2023. Were you employed as a police officer with the San Antonio Police Department between August 20th and September 26th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what was your title and assignment during those months?
I was a detective investigator with the homicide aggravated assaults detail.
Okay, and regarding homicide, I guess, what type of cases does homicide investigate?
That's anything up from what's called a harassment case where you repeated phone calls and things like that, all the way up to a shooting where a person could be paralyzed for life. I guess from that seriousness of that.
Okay, and that detail is specifically the aggravated assaults?
Yes, that's
section?
specifically the aggravated assault.
Okay. Now, while on August 28th of 2023, were you on duty? Well, okay, did you create a prosecution guide for the case that we're here for today?
Yes.
Would it help you to have a copy of that to refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 19. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
This is my investigative supplement report, also known as a prosecution guide.
Okay, and was that authored by you?
Yes.
Okay, and it contains your name and badge number, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it a true and accurate depiction of the report that you generated at the time in 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna just ask you to speak into it. Now you can use that to refresh your memory, but please do not read from it, okay? So were you on duty on August 28th of 2023?
I believe I was.
All right. And were you assigned to do follow-up investigation on an SAPD 23-18-75-88?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How did you end up with that case?
The sergeants kind of just they have a list of what detectives get what cases based on, I guess, just a order or a sequence. And this case just happened to fall into the one that was assigned to me based on a crime in that category that I was up for.
Was there a different SAPD incident number associated with this case number that I just referenced?
Yes.
And what was that previous case number or incident number, excuse me?
On my report, it shows to be the SAPD-2023-11797626.
Can you please explain to the jury what is the difference between an incident number and a case number?
Anytime someone calls the police, if there's any police interaction, it's supposed to be documented with an incident number. So every incident, every interaction has that. If there's believed to be pertinent information, either to a crime or that just seems like it would be more important to have, I don't know, stored for in a more appropriate way, I guess, then it would get assigned a case number.
Okay, and so case numbers, or is it true that case numbers are generally assigned when there's an arrest on the scene?
Yes, or any type of crime has been determined.
Okay, and so in this case, the offense date was August 20th of 2023. Under the SAPD incident number, was there ever an offense report generated for that SAPD 2023-1179-726?
No.
Okay, and so was there additional follow-up that was done that created a case number, or how did that come about?
The victims in this case, or reporting person, contacted the police again to provide further information, and at that point, an officer decided that it fit the elements for for a crime and he generated a case number.
Do you know why the person contacted the police again?
I believe because the injuries were more extensive than she felt was reasonable, and the police did not initially make a report, so she wanted to ensure that one was.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to refer to page 2 of your report on the fifth paragraph, please. Did the reporting parties state, their feelings regarding the way that the initial incident was handled? On August 22nd, 2023.
Because he went to the emergency room.
Okay. Did you ever have any communication with the victim's wife, Tina?
Yes,
What were her feelings regarding the way that the officers handled the call on the night of the offense? She felt that that they didn't listen to her side, isn't that correct?
yes, that's correct. She felt like she didn't get,
All right. Now moving on, you're assigned to the case, and when you are assigned to a case generally, what do you do to conduct a follow-up investigation?
generally, I mean, the first thing to do is to review all that's available so far with the officers, so I reviewed that, and then it's to contact the complainant or the reporting person and find out what their side of things are. From there, look for witnesses, and then from there, talk to the defendants.
Okay. Now regarding any witnesses, in this case, can you just list the victims and witnesses that you spoke with, to take statements from?
I spoke with Tina, I spoke with Esperanza, I spoke with Pablo, and then I spoke with Anthony, and I spoke with Mariano.
And regarding the witnesses that you followed up with, was that based on initial or information that was obtained by the officer that generated the offense report?
I only think some of it was from the officer that offense report, some of it was from reviewing the initial incident as well.
And so when you interviewed Tina, do you recall, was that over phone or in person?
Initially, it was over the phone.
Okay, and regarding Esperanza, was that in phone or in person?
That was on the phone.
Okay, and regarding Pablo, were you able to conduct an interview with him?
Yes, and that was in person.
That was in person? Okay. Based on the information that you gained from your interviews, did you find that those interviews were consistent with each other?
Yes.
All right. Now, regarding the contact that you made, you stated you made contact with the defendant, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was that over the phone or in person?
It's over the phone.
And had you been charged with any crime at that time?
No.
All right, and so did he voluntarily speak with you?
Yes.
When you spoke with him, well, I guess let me back up. Did you receive any evidence from Tina regarding this case?
Yes.
And what was that?
Initially, it was a one cell phone footage and then pictures of injuries, both I think from her and the Pablo.
Okay. And you had an opportunity to view the cell phone video, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall what it shows? Well, I'll show you State's Exhibit number 2. All right, now regarding the individual that is displayed in State's Exhibit number 2, dropping his knees into the individual that's laying on their back on the floor, were you able to identify that individual?
Yes,
And who was that?
was Mariano Rendon.
Okay, and that's the same person that you conducted a voluntary interview with, is that correct?
Sorry. Yes, that is the same person I spoke to on the phone.
Okay. When you spoke with the defendant, or did he make any statement to you regarding ever being in fear for his life on that night?
No, I don't recall it.
Did you specifically ask the defendant whether did you ask the defendant who assaulted the victim, Pablo Rodriguez?
If I recall, I believe I told him that that's what we're investigating, and I wanted to speak to him about it, and I did tell him that he was implicated as someone who assaulted him. So I was asking for explanations, but I don't know how I directly worded it.
Okay, and isn't it true that he stated that he never touched Pablo Rodriguez?
Yes,
Is that consistent with the video evidence that is State's Exhibit number 2?
no,
When you conducted an interview with the defendant, did you have some suspicions that the location Elvocon had some type of security cameras?
yes.
Okay, what did you do to try to obtain footage from that?
I just requested the footage if it's available
From who?
from Mr. Rendon.
Okay, did the defendant ever provide you that footage?
He provided me with some footage.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 20. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes,
Have you viewed the contents of this disc?
yes,
Did you make any identifying marks on this disc?
yes, I signed it with my badge number and put the date.
And is that how you're able to recognize that it's the same video that you viewed earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
When you viewed this contents of this disc, is it in the same condition as when you provided it to the district attorney's office?
Yes,
And it hasn't been altered in any way, is that correct?
that's correct.
And this is a copy of the videos that you received from the defendant, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, the state offers State's Exhibit number 20.
That's the we looked at earlier,
The-
correct?
Yeah.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit number 20 is admitted without objection.
Permission to publish your.
Granted.
Now, I'm gonna move on to page 4 of your prosecution guide. But after you had a chance to observe what was on State's Exhibit number 20, how would you describe the footage that was turned over?
I mean, I guess not ideal. It was cell phone footage of a surveillance screen. And it was a little pixelated. I don't know if the quality would have been better from the drug source or not, but the lighting was definitely not ideal. And then of course, just the quality of it was a little bit lower.
From State's Exhibit number 20, were you able to ascertain anything of evidentiary value?
I think maybe just the cooperation of some of the altercation, just the fact that it was there and it was going on. Kind of a little bit maybe of the overall chaoticness of it, but that's, but I would say nothing definitive. I remember noting specifically that there was nothing that you could specifically identify in the video.
Okay, and were you were you able to identify any suspects, victims or witnesses in State's Exhibit number 20?
Not based on that video, no.
All right, and so in the form of the videos, were they provided to you directly from the hard drive or were they cell phone recordings of a screen?
They appear to be cell phone recordings.
Did you further receive a video involving the defendant and Esperanza Garza?
Yes.
And I'm gonna display that to you.
Know if the word clarifying, but I believe this is the first video I got, and that initial video is the second video I got.
Okay. Did you find that that video corroborated what Esperanza was telling you?
Yes.
All right. Now, after you received the video evidence, based on your investigation, what was the result of your investigation?
The result of my investigation was that the use of force that was utilized in this case was not reasonable, given the circumstances that I observed.
All right, and based on that, did you believe that you had probable cause that the defendant committed the offense of aggravated assault, serious bodily injury against Pablo Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now, once you determined that, did you what did you do with the case?
At that point, I just finished writing out what I had done, and then I submitted it over to the district attorney's office for review.
All right, we have the witness.
All right, defense.
My name is Attorney Larry Bungus. I don't think we've ever met before today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I represent Mariano Rendon. So some general questions, just as a police officer. So we have an individual, we have a list of individuals that you'd identified, and one of them is a Ricardo Rodriguez. Who is that person?
Do not recall, so I'd have to refer to my
Yeah.
report.
I'm just gonna approach.
Okay. believe you with possibly another staff member. Yeah, I do not recall who Ricardo Rodriguez is.
If some of the witnesses describe a person named Ricardo Baez, is it possible that someone gave a false name for Rodriguez or?
Yeah, it's possible.
Object to speculation.
Sustained.
Well, you don't know who Ricardo Rodriguez is?
No, my guess is that it's either somebody that they spoke to on the, and maybe that's just guessing too, sorry, but somebody that it either potentially spoke to on the first case when I looked at all the officers' videos, or it's somebody that Esperanza or somebody told me about. That's one of the, that would be my guess.
But one possibility is if the person identified them as Ricardo Rodriguez, one possibility is that may not be their actual name, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they could go by another name.
Yes, sir.
During this, several of the witnesses have mentioned a person named Ricardo Baez. Have you ever heard of that person?
Outside of this case, no.
Inside this case, did you talk to a Ricardo Baez? Did anybody discuss with you a person named Ricardo Baez?
I didn't see it in my report and it's been over a year.
Ms. Esperanza Garza initially told officers her name was Esperanza Perez, is that correct?
I think I do recall something like that. But I don't remember, I don't see it in my report, but it does sound familiar.
Well, earlier she admitted that she lied because she had open warrants, okay? But as a police officer, when you have people that are doing things like giving you a false name, does that cause you to have pause in their credibility?
As far as pause, yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because if someone's lying to you about something as simple as their name, it's possible they may be lying about other things, correct?
Possibly, yes.
You talked to several other people, and let me ask you this question. When you're starting an investigation like this, okay, because initially there's a call that night, and it's your understanding that the officers initially responded, didn't file any charges against anybody, correct?
Yes, correct.
And they seem to believe that it was mutual combat and that there was some melee going on over there.
Objection to speculation.
Sustained.
That would be something you would have reviewed, right? You reviewed their reports. That was part of your investigation, was reviewing the reports from that evening?
I'm gonna object to the legal, just regarding the last question, object to
But
it.
Judge, this was in a report that
All
you
right,
read.
so just one second. So, ask your question and I will make a ruling on
Okay.
it.
So my question is, you read a report from the you reviewed all the reports of the officers. That was the first step in your investigation, right? These people have come in and made a complaint. You want to go back in and see what the officers on the scene did, correct? And part of that report was that they decided that it was mutual combat and that they didn't file charges against anybody, correct?
All right, and what's your objection?
Well, objection to, I mean, it's hearsay regarding the officers, even though he did review it, it's those officers' conclusion, he doesn't really have personal knowledge as to it, and it's a legal conclusion.
Well, and it's not offered for the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor. It's offered for the impact on his investigation and how he proceeded with his investigation.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
If that initial call, Officer Wilson, it's already in evidence, has described the complaining witnesses as being, let me make sure I get this correct. Highly intoxicated and combative. If Officer Wilson was on the scene with them, had the best chance to observe them, you don't have any reason to disagree with that, correct?
I don't have any, yeah, I guess that's correct. I mean, I didn't see it in my viewing of their body cams, but
Right.
I wouldn't have disagreed with it otherwise.
And one of the things when you're starting an investigation, wouldn't it be important to look at during that initial investigation, wouldn't it, as a detective, wouldn't you like the officers to get the names, addresses, phone numbers, and potentially even emails of every person that is a witness to the crime?
Yes, absolutely would.
That would make your job a lot easier, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the best chance to do that is at the scene,
That would be correct. Yes, sir.
right? So like this Ricardo Rodriguez, this Ricardo Valles, you don't know who that person is. You have no contact information with him or anything like that. But if he was standing near the police officers and they failed to ask him that question, that's why you don't have that information, correct?
Correct.
And potentially that may be somebody, if they were a witness to this, that you might want to talk to.
Yes, sir.
When you're starting an investigation like this, because now it was, initially with these other guys, and now it's yours, right? Because you're the one that's now taking over the investigation. Wouldn't it be correct in saying that you would want to look at all potential offenses that were committed that evening?
Correct.
So specifically, you spoke to a bunch of different people that you spoke to Esperanza Garza, correct?
Yes.
You spoke to Mariano Rendon.
Yes.
You spoke to Tina Jimenez,
Yes.
Pablo Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
You spoke to the security officer Anthony Cochran,
Yes.
correct? You spoke to an individual named Calvin or Pete.
I noted that I watched the video of the Calvin talking to the officers. I was not able to reach him myself.
And that is that because the officers didn't get Calvin's information?
I know I did have a number for him. I don't know if the officers got it or if that's something we had on file, but the number was not up to date and correct.
Okay, but was there an address or a street address in the report where you could go and find him?
I do not recall. There might have been.
Okay, but if the officers failed at the initial scene, if they failed to get that information for you, that would have somewhat hindered your investigation, correct?
Correct.
And realistically, as an officer, you've, I'm sure, started off on patrol and worked your way all the way up to where you are now. It takes literally just 3 or 4 seconds to get that information. What's your name? What's your mailing address? What's your email? What's your phone number?
Yes, sir.
What's your date of birth? That's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And that would be something that when you went to the police academy and during all your initial training, that you would be trained to do, is to identify all potential witnesses and get that level of information.
Yes, sir. I don't think the emails usually talked about, but we've asked them when we talk to them on the street sometimes just to remember to grab that.
Yeah, but even if you didn't have the email, if you had the rest of that stuff, as a detective, it would be a lot easier for you to find somebody, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then ideally, even a driver's license, that would be another way to do
Yes,
it.
sir.
Is the fact that those officers failed to do that, did that hinder your investigation in this case?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Did you ever speak to Calvin?
From looking at my report last, I do not recall. I do not believe I did.
And did you do you know what Calvin's last name is?
I have to refer to the report, but
Yes.
It's Guerrero or Guerrera,
Uh-huh.
and his first name's actually Pete. I do remember that.
But he goes by Calvin.
Yes, sir.
But you reviewed a written statement that he did at some point?
One of the written statements was from him, but I did review him talking to the officers on the night of the incident through their body cams. I know I did receive some written statements. I just don't recall.
You also
I think I did get one from him. Yeah, I think I did get one from him, but
you also took a statement from Williams. Who's Williams?
Williams was a written statement that I got. And he is a staff member for the volcano. I believe he was a security guard as well.
Okay. And did you ever follow up on that? I mean, you got a written statement from him. Did you ever follow up on that?
No, other than the written statement, that's all I did.
Okay. But you could have followed up on that. I mean, in all fairness, Mr. Rendon was very cooperative during this investigation. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
I Mr. Rendon gave you Mr. Rendon gave you a statement, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rendon gave you the bar surveillance videos.
The ones that we have, yes, sir.
I mean, so he's being very cooperative with you. I mean, did you ever think to ask Mr. Rendon for contact information for Pete, Calvin, Guerrero, or Mr. Williams?
Since I had the written statements, I felt that those were sufficient. I suppose I could have asked them for that.
Okay. Well, we have three, and again, we talked about it during an investigation. You want to look at all the possible crimes that could have been committed. Fair to say?
Yes, sir.
In all three of those statements, in Mr. Pete Calvin Guerrero's statement, in Mr. Williams' statement, and Mr. Rendon's statement, and Mr. Cochran's statement. So 4 people said that they saw Pablo Rodriguez striking at Mr. At Anthony Cochran, correct?
All right,
I'm not objecting yours.
all right, that'll be sustained.
Judge, I'm not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted. I'm offering it to the fact that they failed to investigate another crime the other crimes that they're aware of, and that's why it's being offered. It's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It's being specifically offered for the fact that they failed to investigate other crimes that occurred that night and a bias in the investigation.
All right, approach.
the case where I was a prosecutor and we had these two defense lawyers and we said, they're not gonna object to anything. We're gonna have to be both the prosecutor and the defense lawyer. And so we actually did motions in limine on our own evidence. And I got held on appeal, but it would not have otherwise.
Oh, no, but I really appreciate when people are actually advocating for their clients, because it does make my job much easier. And so to both parties, I'm gonna, because we have docket in the morning, and I know that there's not gonna be a lot of jurors here. I think it's probably best for them to come in tomorrow at 10:30. And that way we'll finish up our docket. And I already told the deputies if we have any inmates, they're gonna take them back at 10. And if attorneys are not here by 9:30, they're gonna take them back. Yes, we're ready.
All right, for the jury?
All right, everyone, please be seated. And defense, you may continue.
Um, this document that you're writing, this police report, right? And I think sometimes they call it here a prosecution guide. You'd agree with me, that's an important document.
Yes, sir.
And and it's an important document because it's a document that's relied upon by the police department, it's relied upon by the prosecutor's office, it's oftentimes reviewed or possibly relied upon by the defense attorney. So you want to put all pertinent information into the police report, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
So anything that's of any significance, you want to put into the police report, and that's important for the investigation, it's important for the prosecution of a criminal case. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, somebody could be a really good police officer, but if they don't write it down, it kind of almost doesn't count. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, I could do all kinds of great investigation. If I don't write a report that says that, no one's gonna know about it,
Yes, sir.
right? If it's all like locked up in my mind. Have you ever, well, I'll track that. So I'm going to your prosecution guide, and can I see the one that you have, just out of curiosity? Yeah, just a moment.
Yes.
Just some legal issues. So, assaulting a security officer, that's a felony in the state of Texas, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Robbery is a felony in the state of Texas, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And robbery is taking an item from someone using force, correct?
No object to relevance, Your Honor.
That will be sustained.
So in your police report, right? I think it's on page 3, okay?
Yes, sir.
That's the synopsis of the statement that you took from Mr. Rendon over the telephone. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you show me in that statement where it says that Mariano says he never touched the person?
I don't see it here.
It's not in your report, is it?
No, sir.
And you're saying that like it's a very significant thing. And we just talked about how important it is for all significant things to be in your report. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is it possible you misremembered that?
Yes, I mean, the report's not a verbatim because I know there is a recording, but yes.
Right. But I mean, there are times like you're handling, this isn't the only case that you're working on at this time.
Correct.
It's possible he never made that statement. Is that fair to say?
Based on the report, yes.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, any further questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Okay, so regarding your investigation, you stated that you reviewed the body worn cameras of the initial responding officer, Salas, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you reviewed that body worn camera, you stated you did not observe, Pablo Rodriguez, Esperanza Garza, or Tina, Jimenez being combative, is that correct?
That's correct.
Objection leading.
Sustained.
In the video, did you observe the parties associated with Pablo Rodriguez being combative?
I didn't know.
Now regarding the statements, you stated that you received a written statement, from a last name Williams, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you reviewed a body worn camera statement from an individual named Calvin Guerra?
Yes.
Okay, and those are statements that you received and reviewed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and notwithstanding those, you took them into account and still decided to file a case against the defendant, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, I want to ask you a question, because you said right now, Mr. Bloomquist was just asking you, you said based on the report, it could be inferred that it's possible that the defendant never said that. Did you review evidence in this case prior to your testimony?
Yes.
And the evidence that you reviewed, did the defendant state that he never touched Pablo Rodriguez?
Yes.
And so that is a definitive statement that the defendant made, correct?
Yes.
Now, regarding the prosecution guide, I mean, it's 11 pages in front of you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you put a lot of things in there, but it's fair to say that you're not going to document every little thing in there, is that correct?
That's correct.
Especially with statements, you typically type them out verbatim in a prosecution guide?
No.
Okay. We passed the witness, Your Honor.
Did you also file charges for aggravated assault and serious bodily injury against Anthony Cochran?
I did not.
Do you know if those charges were filed at a later time?
To my knowledge, they were not.
I'll pass witness.
Any further questions?
No, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state judge.
Excuse your honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone except for attorneys for the state or the defense.
Yes.
All right, you may step down. State, call your next witness.
The state rep.
All right. All right, we can go off the record. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you come back tomorrow at 10:30. I have a docket in the morning, but you won't have to worry about parking because no jurors are called up on Fridays unless the court has specifically asked for jurors to be called up. And I don't have any information that any court has done that. So your parking will be okay, but we'll start it. I promise you, we will start exactly at 10:30. And I do appreciate you all for always being on time. And I apologize about today, but we just went a little bit over and there are a couple of cases that I needed to make sure that were handled for today. So what I anticipate is that this case will most likely be concluded with testimony tomorrow. And so you won't be here late on Friday because I know Mother's Day is coming up. We'll come back on Monday. On Monday at 9 a.m., both parties will have a chance to do closing arguments for you. And that way you'll have all day to consider everything. Again, remember my instructions. You're not allowed to view anything about this case. You're not allowed to talk about this case. Don't even think about this case outside the courtroom. You're not to start deliberating internally with yourself or with each other. Does anyone have any questions before I release you?
No.
All right, thank you so much for your patience. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. Please be seated. So if y'all can make sure that all of the exhibits are where they should be. And defense, I know I said that I expect maybe we'll conclude tomorrow. If there is an issue with one of your witnesses, just let me know. And then also if there's a witness that maybe they're out of county or something, if the state has no objections, I'll allow them to appear by Zoom.
Okay.
Just to let you know, Judge, I think Mr. Bloomquist asked me told me that his first witness is recalling Tina.
Well, I may not call her first, but I want her here first thing in the morning.
Oh, well, we're gonna get her here by 10:30.
Yeah, just have her on standby.
All right, and then what we'll do is tomorrow we may end up staying a little late to go over the jury charge. And I know you're saying that you want self-defense potentially. All right, I'll let the charge writer know. And then I will let you all get a chance to review that. And again, it will not be the final charge, but it'll just have everything in it, and whatever you all want to take away from it, the court will consider.
I don't think Guadalupe County, they need to do it, prosecutor.
Uh-huh.
Then I was responsible, and then.
Well, let me,
Mr. Proofreader, the judge would always yell at me.
oh, well, on the civil side, I always tell people on the civil side, there are no charge writers. You have to do it yourself. So been there.